Love seeing the building. I like it, man. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Melly was popping. Truth, I see you. All right, man. Let's get it, man. I try to get everybody, but you know how it goes. Whose mic is low? Check, check, check. Alan, Dre said your mic is a little low. It sounds good to me, but
check.
I guess you can give it.
Check.
Let me go up a little bit more, maybe. Yeah, just a little bit. Fred was good. Nay, salute. I like it, man. I like it. Hey guys, put a 1 in the chat if Alan's mic is good.
Check.
Somebody said, "Is it on?"
Oh, they can't hear it at all. Damn.
No, they could definitely hear it. No.
Check.
Yeah, okay. Dre says good.
I bet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I got, we got a little bit of controls on my side, but it sounds good to me. But I got my computer and I'm on the computer, so they be on the phone and all that.
Got you.
Okay, they said you good. They said you
all right,
good. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Alan, once again, man, I'm humbled by your presence, your graciousness, your willingness to be here. It's an honor.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Yes, sir.
100%, man. First and foremost, it does say, you've been doing this since 2013, but how did you get started?
Yes, sir. So it started off as an offshoot of NAACP. That's why, like, a lot of people, say I be on that woke shit. Like, that's old. I've been doing that for a while. So it was an event that I would put together in college, where we would. Some of the NAACP members, we get together and we'll have conversations about colorism, racism, etc. Mm-hmm. And then we broke it off into its own organization. And then after I graduated, it kind of like snowballed. It grew on different campuses. Okay. And then COVID hit, and then it moved to YouTube. So that's why I'm here now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
I like it, man. We certainly glad that you're here. You decided to do it, man. And we proud of you, first and foremost.
Appreciate you, brother.
I want to set the baseline just with the mindset. And I was watching a lot of your beautiful content. So I had some questions based on that. This is a baseline thing that I kind of asked the majority of the people in which I interviewed. So I want to get your thoughts on this picture right here, if you don't mind. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. What's your sentiments on this?
Man, it's not supposed to cook, wash dishes, or wash his clothes if he got a woman. Oh, man. Man, I have this conversation with women more times than I can count. My position is this, man. I think we're at a crossroads as a society. We are moving away from traditionalism and we're going into like modernism. So we're trying to redefine what a man is, what a woman is, and what responsibilities come along with those titles. I think it's a certain type of man that would warrant not having to contribute to some of the domestic stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it would also be a certain type of woman who is capable, because I think what we don't talk about often is like we kind of were taught to assume that women are good at womanly duties, but some women don't know how to cook. Some women don't know how to clean, right? So part of their aversion to cooking and cleaning is sometimes it's incompetence. It's that they're not good at it, so they're not confident doing it. So if it's a man who is capable of taking care of everything else, I think he absolutely deserves to have a woman who takes care of everything else. But if it's a man who, his woman also has to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, I think it's only fair that the domestic stuff is also split 50-50.
Got you. Now, question. I know you said some. What do you think the majority of the women lie? Can the majority or minority of women cook and clean?
So I would say the majority cannot.
Damn.
I think, and I'm a caveat is
Okay.
I'm African, I'm Nigerian, so like my standards for cooking clean is a little higher, right,
Mhm.
than I think some women would expect. But what I've observed in my life, and even just paying attention to other people, there is a competence gap. Like cooking, for instance, a lot of recipes took generations to develop. You just watching a video on YouTube every now and then, you're not going to know how to cook. You're not going to understand the intricacies of how flavors work together, and how to increase certain notes or decrease certain notes by what you do uh, during the prep portion of the cooking. So I
Mhm.
think a lot of people can prepare, but they can't cook, right? And similarly with cleaning, washing dishes, washing clothes. I
Mhm.
think people over estimate their ability. So yeah, I would actually say no. Most people cannot. Most people in general, including women.
Okay. But for
Yeah.
the women, the minority are able to cook and clean well. Okay. Now, I know you mentioned the particular type of man that qualifies for this 100% per the
Hmm.
picture. Is that the minority of men or the majority of men that qualify for 100%?
The minority, man. The
Damn.
minority. And that's the thing. Like one of the conversations I really like having is the conversation about polygamy.
Okay.
And the reason I like having that conversation is
Mhm.
that if we're being honest as a culture, that is more consistent with our history than a monogamy. But
Mm.
the ironic thing about it, um, polygamy is actually better for women and monogamy is better for men.
Break
The
that down.
reason being is in every single animal species and throughout history,
Mm-hmm.
women tend to coalesce, they tend to aggregate themselves around the best man, right? The king, the prince, the dude with the money, the chiefs, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But in a monogamous society, every man, regardless of where he falls on that, social economic hierarchy, is guaranteed a woman, right? If
Mm-hmm.
if LeBron had 5 wives, that's that's 4 women that no longer are accessible to 4 men, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about it is, I think there is still a minority of men who are the top guys,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's just the reality of how things shake out. And part of being those top guys is earning a certain amount of money, is being able to have a certain social status,
Sure.
a certain level of charisma, a
Mm-hmm.
certain level of intelligence. And when you look at standard deviation, like most people are average. And
Average.
the people that women are going for, the exceptional people who are the
Mm-hmm.
minority, but the
Mm-hmm.
majority of women are going after that minority. So no, I don't think most men qualify for that, but I think that's why we have to start redefining, okay, what is it going to look like moving into 2025, 2026, when most people are average and you're no longer allowed as a woman to take your average to an exceptional man and share him with other average or semi-exceptional women.
Wow. Okay. Okay. That puts quite a spin on it. It leads me kind of, there's a couple different paths I had. There was a conversation that we were having in the Discord today. If anybody's not in the Discord, I definitely recommend you join, regarding rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. And I remember one of your clips that was the one of the best ones I saw that probably had the most interaction, so to speak, was that
Mm.
series that you did. Kevin Samuel started this conversation. And so it seems like, you definitely did your due diligence regarding him, watched and, consumed the information. A lot of people often just see the clips and make
Hmm.
their summation off of that. When
Hmm.
we're talking about high value, I know you just said it. Is that what that is in terms of the man that would qualify for 100% her cooking, cleaning, etc.? Or does a lesser man also qualify if he's not, doesn't check all those boxes?
So, you know, the high value conversation, as far as Kevin Samuels facilitated,
Sure.
he was talking specifically about economic high value,
Mm,
right? So he wasn't including character. He wasn't including,
Okay.
you know, spirituality necessarily or intelligence necessarily. He was just rank, right? How high is he on the depth chart? So I don't think it's relegated to just dudes who are CEOs or dudes who are lawyers or whatever the case may be. I
Mm-hmm.
think those dudes, there are different conversations to be had as far as, you know, what comes with being with those type of men. No, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just talking about a man who is still traditional in his in the way that he carries out his roles and responsibilities as a man. And money is not the only thing that a man brings to a household or to a woman's life. So if he is carrying himself or carrying out his role in a traditional manner, the
Mm-hmm.
things on that list were traditional aspects of the woman's role in the house.
Yeah.
So all I was saying is like, to have a traditional man, you have to be a traditional woman and vice versa.
Mm.
And if there is a discrepancy there, then the only alternative is both parties being modern.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Hey, every time you say something, I got a bunch of questions. I also have these ones written down, but it's good. Have
Listen,
you
take it
heard?
there, man.
Yeah, we're gonna go. So the drizzle, you remember?
Yeah.
Just off
Drizzle,
of, like you
drizzle,
said, the
yeah.
modern relationship.
Yeah.
So we have a legendary young man that I met on YouTube.
Mm.
His name is Cheeky Banter. You should definitely check him out. He does
Oh yeah,
music
that's
as
my
well.
guy. That's my
Yeah,
guy. That's my guy. Yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like I that he like one of the first people. I'm like, damn, he almost as smart as I am.
No, he's solid. He's solid. He's
He's
solid.
solid, right?
Yeah, he's
And
solid, brother.
so I credit him with the drizzle, but he used the terminology of house husband,
Mm.
where reversing the roles will get both roles to see how important and how difficult each role is. And then
Mm.
oftentimes people may convert back to, traditionalism when they figure out what the other side has to do.
Right.
Do you think that modern relationships won't be successful and go back to traditionalism, and the house husband sentiment is more realistic for most of us?
I don't think either side is necessarily realistic because I think that, you know, if you're a dude who makes over a certain amount of money,
Mm-hmm.
then you can probably replicate a more traditional scenario, right? But for
Mm-hmm.
the majority of people, we're going to need two incomes to survive. That's just the reality of the economy. That's the reality of where we are as a country. So I think, you know, for the majority of people, they're going to have to craft and kind of tailor make their own version of what that middle ground is between traditionalism and modernism. Because, you know, to your point, the more modern, just purely modern, it's not sustainable because the women are left feeling unfulfilled, the men are left feeling disrespected, and it's a recipe for disaster. Now we have more options than we've ever had. We have more access to people, to opportunities, etc. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to maintain marriage, which is a very traditional institution, monogamy, which is a very traditional institution, it's going to be difficult. So I think for most people, they're going to have to like, you know, figure out what's going to work for them, and maybe it's not something that's going to be accepted by the mainstream. Maybe her girlfriends might have something to say about it, but it's going to have to work for those two individuals in the relationship. But I think traditionalism, just pure traditionalism, for most people, I don't think it's going to work moving forward, man.
Damn.
Yeah,
And
I don't think it's
so
going to work.
so we have so many conversations, right, Alan? And I know you had a million. Does a man lose ground if he has to go 50-50? Does he lose the mantle of leadership? Is-
100%.
mm. And
100%.
so does he have to forego submission as we understand it?
100%. 100%. I mean, even if we take it out of the context of romantic relationship,
Okay.
the reason why we as a species, we as a society follow the leadership of anybody is because we think on some level
Mhm.
that individual is better, right? When we were, warring tribes or whatever the case may be,
Sure.
the leader might have been the best warrior or a descendant of the best warrior.
Mm-hmm.
The leader might be somebody who we believe was appointed by God, like European the monarchy. The lineage is, it comes from God appointed this person, and we're going to make sure that their lineage is still in power. So there's a sense of they are better than me. Even like, you look at American presidents, and supposedly, like, the vast majority of American presidents have been over the average height of their time.
Yeah.
Right? They've all been a little taller than everybody else. So I think when you bring it back to, romantic relationship, at the point, and it sounds counterintuitive, it might sound brash, but at the point where your woman doesn't see you as better in some significant way, shape, or form, I think that's where you lose, right? And if you listen to women talk about the man that they want, even women who are on the right side of the standard deviation curve, they're higher than average intelligence, higher than average earning, whatever the case may be, they still want taller, richer, smarter, closer to God. Like, they still want better because you want to look up, right? So I think in a situation where we're looking eye to eye, or God forbid she's looking down on you, again, if y'all can tailor make a situation where, there's an understanding there, I think that could work, but I think it's also the exception. But I think for most people, there has to be that certain dynamic where she sees you as knowing or being something that she doesn't know or can't be.
Damn,
It's harsh, man.
it's harsh. It's
harsh.
harsh. And I'm looking at, and I'm going back to the monogamy versus the polygamy, or I think majority of men probably lean into polygyny, where it's a one-sided, where you can have multiple, and then she has access to the man that can have multiple because he should have the resources to sustain multiple women, right? The state of our affairs, though, in our relationships, based on the dynamic that you just eloquently painted, is this dynamic the reason why we're the least married? Very high divorce rates, our children being born without two parents in the household, is because the dynamic is seemingly off or skewed?
I got an unpopular opinion. I think
Hold on, let me do this.
it's gonna sound counterintuitive, but I think the reason why we're the least married is because we think marriage is about love. I think relative to other communities, they marry for economic reasons. They marry for the reasons the institution was created, right?
Yeah.
I think, as Black folks, being the spiritual, emotional people that we are, I think we tend to highlight and overemphasize auxiliary aspects of a thing rather than the utilitarian aspect of a thing. Marriage wasn't created for the love of your life. Marriage wasn't created for us to, hold hands and walk into the sunset. Romans created that. That's why it's called romance, right? Yeah. And we think that the big crescendo of romance is marriage. But no, marriage was created to share property, pass on lineage, for political expediency, right? So into the 21st century, I think the reason why we're the least married, obviously there's the Black historical context of breaking apart the Black family,
Sure.
aka breaking apart Black people's economic foundation, right? Because they don't give a shit if we love each other. They care about what we make through that love.
Yeah.
People, businesses, etc. But the other piece too is, I think generally the reason marriage is failing, let me zoom out of our community, is because people have, number one, lost sight of that initial reason for it. And secondarily, the things that used to be used to grade the success of a marriage back in the day no longer apply. Right. Back in the day, it was about, grandpa and Mima been together 40 years, 50 years. Yeah. Nobody really cared or would bring up the fact that their relationship was abusive, the fact that their relationship was toxic, the fact that, they're both stressed out, they're both unhappy, maybe infidelity is involved, etc. But I think this generation, the good thing, bad thing is like we're more honest than our
Mm-hmm.
predecessors. So, and we're less willing to bear discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's emotional discomfort, etc. And
Yeah.
there's a reason why I think 69% of divorces are initiated by women.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, Meemaw couldn't initiate divorce. So a lot of the reason why marriages lasted back in the day is because women didn't have the authority or
Mm-hmm.
the options that they have now
Yeah.
to facilitate that institution ending. So there are multiple things happening,
Yeah.
but I think it's a mistake when we look at grandpa and grandma through rose-colored glasses, and we look at ourselves as deficient in some type of way. It's multiple things.
Indeed, indeed. That actually lends to a conversation we were having yesterday. Do you think those women were generally majority unhappy? It's obviously speculative, right?
It's speculative. I think the Western culture over emphasizes happiness. Happiness don't mean shit.
Yeah.
I think men are more familiar with happiness, not meaning shit, but like happiness is marketed to women so much.
Mm.
And I think a lot of women have drank that Kool-Aid and they evaluate their lives through the lens of a fleeting, temporary, superficial emotion like happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's another difference between now and then. But yeah, I don't think those women were any more or any less happy than they are now. I think, I think discontent is a part of human nature. I think more so for women because again, a lot of the marketing to them is be happy. If you're
Happy.
not happy, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
I don't think, just like, when people say grandma was more faithful than, women nowadays, she wasn't sleeping around. I
Yeah.
call bullshit.
Not the cap.
There's nothing new under the sun. The difference is these new women, they're more unabashedly unashamed about what they do. They're
Mm-hmm.
more overt with what they want, right? So you're just hearing the realities that have already existed. And that's why, I argue with dudes sometimes. They want to go back to the good old days, but like a lot of it wasn't good, man.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
When you're saying these things, we definitely have, kindred thoughts. And, that's where the cliche comes from. Mother's baby, papa's maybe,
Maybe.
right? That
That's
just
a
don't
fact.
come out of nowhere, right?
That's a fact. That's a
Um,
fact.
and I like the fact that you highlighted access to get out of a marriage, right? Because one of the notions that was being shared was that it was passed down that this isn't a great construct to women, like, just in terms of being married. But the truth is, we could speculate that the rates would look the same if those women had the same access to get out of these marriages.
1000%.
Yeah, I like that you
1000%.
highlighted that. Yeah.
No, and the thing too is like I
Mhm.
think a lot of older women were bred to be dishonest, right?
Mm.
Like even taking it out of just a generational divide and looking at a ethnic divide, as it were, kind of.
Mhm.
Nigerian women are supposedly amongst the most unfaithful women in the world.
Mm.
Right? Like there are a lot of DNA tests that are coming out these days,
Mm.
and they are exposing the fact that my brothers and sisters don't come from the same dad as who we thought our dad was.
Wow.
But you have a lot of Africans, a lot of Nigerians like myself who come over to the United States, and we turn our noses up at some of the things that we see African Americans indulge in. But it's the same shit. It's just packaged differently, and it's less overt, it's less obvious, but it's the same exact thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just a fan of people telling the truth, man.
Yeah, no, hey,
Shit like that.
that
Shit
is
like
some
That's a
that
fact.
Alan, that is a sentiment that is not often shared or
That's a
admitted,
fact.
right? That
That's
turn
a
up the
fact.
nose is super, and that is what creates a level of divide, right? People come with
100%.
presuppositions and stereotypes, but the truth is, like you said, how niggas is niggas everywhere. you
Man,
know,
listen. Listen.
and so interesting, right? In terms of the infidelity there, There's a statistic. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to recall it because we had a conversation a few months back, but it was upwards of 30% of women in Nigeria get married before the age of 18 or right around that age, while it's like less than 2% of the young boys. And so and they're marrying older men, maybe by proxy of being put together. And then is that why you may see infidelity be so, I don't want to say rampant, but you catch my drift.
I'm suspicious of those statistics only because Nigeria is split up into three main ethnic groups. The Igbo, which is my tribe, the Yoruba, and the Hausa. So the Igbos are in the southeast, the Yoruba in the west, and then the Hausa are in the north.
Yeah.
That statistic about women getting married under the age of 19, you said 18?
Yeah, around that, like right before 18 or just
right before 20. I think that more so applies to the Hausas, the Fulanis, the herdsmen, the northern Nigerians, because they're Muslim. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I hesitate to say that's reflective of the country. But what is true is, for the most part throughout history, and as it's reflected in underdeveloped third world countries, the paradigm is that women are born with their value. Right, whether it's their virginity, their youth, their beauty, whatever the case may be, and those things are at their peak, according to this paradigm, in those late teenage years, early 20s, right? But men have to create our value, and I think that is the explanation of a lot of the age divides that you see, because a man's peak, based on our curriculum as men, is 30s, 40s, sometimes even 50s. Right. So a peak man is in his 50s. A peak woman is in her 20s. I think usually with arranged marriages, etc. I think that's a lot of the reason why those large age gaps are facilitated. But Nigeria is modernizing quickly. But those places like the North, where because of Sharia law, because of their faith and their tradition, a lot of modernization is slow. I think that's where you see those stark statistics.
Yeah, no, good breakdown. It's similar to a breakdown I heard previously. Yeah. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. So one thing that popped in my head when you mentioned the monogamy and the polygamy, and how seemingly over here in the US, men will be complaining about not having access to other women, while women seemingly be pushing for monogamy. But what actually popped in my head was hypergamy. I listened to one of your clips in terms of the ram. The biggest ram, he gets access, or with the biggest horns, right? And it also kills him at the same time, right? With arthritic nature and things of that nature. But I was having a conversation with a very dope person that co-hosts a show with me on Tuesday. Her name is Sherelle, and we were trying to uncover if hypergamy itself was societal and not natural. And so with the ram concept, sounds like selective breeding, not necessarily hypergamy. The reason why is I also looked at another one of your clips where Pookie and Ray Ray is winning. They getting access. He the one that's cool, got the charisma, he may have the aesthetic. And so they may breed with him, but they may not stay with him, and they wait till later to get with a man who's probably lesser aesthetically speaking, but more grounded. You know what I mean? So it makes us question: is hypergamy societal or natural?
Man, that's such a good question. I think it's both, brother. I think it's both. I think it's both, man.
So now, Alan, here's one thing we do on this might be risky. We don't use some. So in the general sentiment is like both and some. I agree that applies to a lot of conversations. But when we go one way or the other and we kind of defend that point, at least it gives us clarity to kind of where we stand, even though we also understand you're considerate of both sides.
I give you both. I give you each side. because I feel like
let me hear. It
I
sound
feel
like
like
sound like some. All right, go
yeah,
ahead.
I feel like each side of that particular one has a valid argument.
All right, let
I
me hear.
think on the nature side, I think that's consistent with every other organism on the planet. Just like the analogy I gave with the bucks, for that species, what signals to the females that this male is virile, this male is strong, this male is going to help me produce a strong and virile offspring is the aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
The biology of him, the stature and everything. Same with peacocks, same with
Yeah.
chimps, same with every other species you look at. So I think if you strip away society, if you strip away civilization, I think hypergamy is very biological. It's large man, big muscles, big brain. I want to make his babies, right? And I think, because of the extra layers, I think it confuses, how kind of rudimentary that process is, that process of evaluation. But at the core, that's what women are looking at, right? And when you now start adding those extra layers, it really just gives men who might not be gifted with those type of exceptional genetics an opportunity to still compete, right? So you're not super tall, you're not super muscular, you're not super intelligent, but those people work for you, right?
Okay.
Because the other thing too is like, I know people talk about alpha this, alpha that, but I think alpha is very circumstantial. There are certain rooms where, because of your competence, you are the guy in that room. But there's another room you ain't shit.
Yeah.
Right. So I think civilization adds those extra layers. So I think, with the both thing, I think I would probably lean more so biological, natural. Right. I think that's the team I would fight for. But on the other side, because of all these extra layers, because if you the king, it don't matter if you tall or not. It just don't.
Alan,
You,
so that point, right, is actually what makes it more compounded and interesting. The fact that money can exalt you,
100%.
right? And the king didn't have to be those things, but he had the status, and I would assume he had funds, right? One of the sentiments that was shared is that men push hypergamy because the man who's not bigger, stronger, faster can still win. And as we look through history, women selecting their mates is a very new construct. So oftentimes we would see women being allocated to the man with resources, status, the farms coming together, the kingdoms coming together. And so men were putting women with men they thought were greater.
Oh, I see your point. Yeah.
You see, so the hypergamy seems more societal because men would push it. And now that women have a choice, they kind of align with it, but that's how they've been conditioned. What do you think about that sentiment?
No, I mean that and I think it kind of validates the initial point of natural to who, I guess would be the question. What's natural to women is selecting a male that will give her offspring or hypothetical offspring the best chance of survival.
Yeah.
Right. In the Serengeti, that was big, strong, fast.
Yeah.
In New York City, that's status, money, whatever the case may be. But at the core, it's who's going to give my offspring or potential offspring the best chance of survival. I think, to your point, when civilization came in and society and men are selecting men of caliber, we just prioritize the caliber over the natural stuff. But the natural stuff is still there. And I think left to women's devices and left to empowered women's devices, right? Because that's the caveat, because that's another thing that wasn't there before. They weren't empowered to make their own choices, not only to make their own choices, but empowered enough to be able to walk away, right? Now we're seeing what women actually want. And that's why every YouTube video you see now is about looks maxing. People breaking their knees in Turkey to grow 2 inches taller. Like that stuff matters way more than people realize.
Yeah.
But at the same time, right? You can offset, you can maximize some of the shortcomings that your genetics didn't give you based on what you can do, what you have.
Yeah. No, real shit. Good. Yeah. All right, good brother. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Organically, Alan, you've been in these YouTube streets, Instagram streets, social media streets. You've been out in the real world, out in the earth, traveling and etc.
Yes, sir.
What talking point have you heard that needs to die in 2024?
Talking point that needs to die. Man, that's a good one. I got to think about that.
We can come back to it if you want. But what talking point needs to die in 2024?
Personally, I hate conversations about alpha this, alpha that. I can't. The concept of an alpha male, I think, is misunderstood. I think this new kind of, embrace or celebration of this alpha female archetype.
Yeah.
I think that needs to die too, because to the point I made earlier.
Yeah.
And this is a quote that I came up with, but skill is knowing what you can do, and knowing how to do things, and knowing how to trust yourself. Wisdom is knowing when you shouldn't. Right. So, if somebody sees themselves as this alpha personality, they tend to be that individual who wants to be seen, who wants to put themselves in the forefront at all times, who wants to raise their hand at all times. That's not necessarily always the wise thing to do. Right. Sometimes you have to move in silence. Sometimes you have to be cerebral. Right. And I think this push or this trivial celebration of that version of masculinity, especially for Black men, Black boys, I think is dangerous, and I think it's a mistake. And I think likewise, that celebration for Black women, I think is also dangerous. And I think the biggest mistake is it disqualifies you from the type of individuals, generally, not just romantic relationships, but even friends, the type of individuals who are going to mean something in the long run, right? Who are going to be actual assets to your life, and vice versa. So I think this whole alpha, I'm an alpha, she's an alpha, this alpha, I think that should need to die, man.
Word. Yeah, we actually just had a in-depth conversation regarding it. Here's the irony, right? In terms of it dying, is we were just going through the numbers. You said 5% of men are alpha. And then, they have that one called Sigma. It's like an alpha, but kind of sits back. And less than 1% of men were Sigma, right? So now, as I proceed to drop the link and I start to mine out the panel, it's 10 men. Every single one of us is either alpha or Sigma, which did not align with the 5% or 1%, And so when everybody's something, like, I play football in college. I think football is awesome, right? If you have two quarterbacks, you don't got a quarterback. You know what I mean? So, man, okay, I can get with that one.
Yeah.
There's another one I kind of heard you mine out a little bit that I think I may want it to die, but I want to get your sentiments before I try to put a hole in it. Women are doctors, lawyers. Women are achieving.
Shit like that. Shit like that.
And they show up like, oh, your friend's a great man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I rewound that 3 times when you said it, right?
No, that's real, man.
But the one thing I couldn't stand when I initially heard it, it was like a man will get a woman out of McDonald's if she has the aesthetic, right? As long as she's palatable and has the aesthetic, that's cool. But then, as we know, with inflation, everybody gotta chip in, work, help for a family to succeed. It seems foolish for me not to consider what resources that woman could potentially bring outside of just being pretty. That part bugs me because we ran with it too much, but we can't actually survive apart. So that talking point, I feel like, and I'm saying feel, because I want to get your sentiments before I make a absolute. That shit gotta die. What you think?
No, that's a fact, man. The last, not the last live stream I did, but the one before that, I talked about the difference between a Ferrari and a Toyota, right? And
Mhm.
you know, and a thing that you're going to acquire that's going to simply be a liability is simply going to cost you, right? You know, a while back, T-Pain was talking about why he returned his Bugatti. He said his radiator went out and it was going to be $200,000.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. And then when you really start thinking about it, and I think, you know, this is the mistake a lot of people make. Like, we have these ideas, but we don't actually think about the reality. You can't drive a Bugatti on an American road. You just can't.
Yeah.
Right. Based on what it's for, 260 miles per hour. Where you gonna drive that? You're gonna have to take it to Germany. There's a
Autobahn.
process.
Yep.
Exactly, right? And similarly, you know, but if you get like a Toyota truck,
Yeah.
not only could it be an asset to your life, your business, if you're moving, it's going to be reliable. That shit is going to run till the wheels fall off, damn near 400, 500,000 miles even.
Right.
Like, that is something that it has utility. It has purpose. It actually helps make your life easier. But unfortunately, and like I said during the stream, a lot of men, we are still adolescent in our evaluation of women, right? So we think that her beauty is going to raise our children. Right. We think that we're going to be happy just knowing that our daughter is pretty. That shit ain't going to do shit for you. Right. But even, I mean, and that's the caveat I wish people would add to that. Like, yeah, we will take a woman out of McDonald's if she has an education. Right. If she has a bachelor's in early childhood education, if she's working on a business on the side, if she has some brains, if she's teachable, if she's coachable, if she pairs well. You know, even using the football analogy, if she works well on my team, right, based on the system you're running, you might need a running back, you might need a wide receiver, you might need a lineman. Yeah. Right. So a lot of dudes, we're not evaluating our. Come on now, Colorado don't need no more receivers. They need linemen.
They need a lot of linemen.
They need a lineman. So if the next Antonio Brown wants to go to Colorado, they might need to pass him up and try to get the next Jordan Seaton. Yeah. Right. So similarly, like, as men, you're supposed to be able to evaluate what is your system, what is your vision, and what are the pieces that are going to be necessary to execute that. A pretty girl from McDonald's isn't necessarily going to be a piece for you to execute whatever it is that you're building.
Indeed. And, you know, I just want to make sure I cover it. You know, she's pretty. And what I meant by palatable was, you know, she got a good attitude, right?
Right.
But an airhead ain't gonna do it, right? That Toyota Tundra got you. I mean, it's so much you could tow, you could load, you could haul, it got 4 seats.
Utility, man.
Yeah,
utility. This girl, she told me, like, when she goes to the furniture store, she likes buying things that are pretty and functional. I think that's what we miss out on. We look at the pretty, but we don't think about the functional. Yeah. Right. Is it gonna last? Is it durable? Yeah. Does it have utility? Yeah. It's gotta be functional.
Indeed. Yeah. Damn, man. We can kill both of them joints. That's what's up, baby boy.
That's a fact, man.
Damn. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. So you and I conduct so many conversations, good brother, right? And I found when watching your content is you get an open ear, right? The ladies listen when you talk, you know? I've been pretty blessed to have a similar sentiment happen. Like, when I'm saying something, generally speaking, they try to hear what I'm saying.
Right.
But I was looking at one great clip. I wanted you to expound on it, if you don't mind, for the people.
For sure.
Women are terrible listeners. I think I may have added terrible in there, but you know, just for shock value.
Yeah.
Break that down for me, because we do often see it where it's like, hold on, do you have headphones on? You know? So tell me what you meant by that specifically in the crowd as well.
Absolutely, man. So I was watching this YouTube channel called Diary of a CEO. This is a couple of days ago, but the dude was interviewing Orion Taraban. Is another YouTuber. His name's Psychax. Brilliant dude.
Yeah.
But basically what he was saying was, and I think this speaks to the point that I was making, women care more so about communicating how something makes them feel, rather than how they think about a thing, right? So when you're having a conversation with your girl, and she's talking about the conversation from her point of view, she's trying to get you to understand how she felt in that moment, how she felt when you said X, Y, and Z, or when you did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Whereas we, especially brothers like me and you, I'm mathematical. This happened, then this happened. So how did you think this made sense to happen next?
Yeah.
Right. So it ends up being a situation where we are having two different conversations. So like to the point I was making, women hear from their emotions. I think it's when that's left unchecked, I think it's a very dangerous negative thing, as we're seeing in our community. But I think it could potentially be a powerful thing as well. It's just that a lot of women don't have that male check for that female chaos. But yeah, men relative to women are more so regimented and sequential in our delivery of information, where they're more so like, I want to share the feeling of this communication with you, as opposed to the information or the detail of the communication.
Indeed, I like it. Let me show you this, right? Because I want to illustrate it. Now, people say that this video isn't used for the purpose in which I use it for, but I think it still works. Let me just show you this, just because I clearly understand what you're saying. I just want to also see if you think this video here conveys the thought as well. 1 second. I just gotta cue it real quick. This one here. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most.
Yeah, I seen this. Yeah.
I
seen this. Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me and I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there.
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing.
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
No, see, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See, you're
out.
not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just, sometimes it's like there's this achy, I don't know what it is.
Is this what be happening?
And did you notice in the first couple of seconds, she said feel 3 times?
Yeah.
And everything she's talking about is the pain of the nail, not the nail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The pain, the discomfort, I think, women relative to men, they are chaotic. I say this: women are the embodiment of chaos, and I mean that in the best way and in the worst way at the same time.
Yeah.
And part of that is why they can turn a house into a home, for instance, or they can wreck a man's life. Like that dichotomy goes both ways. And the mistake, though, I think there's we make a lot of concessions for how women are. And I don't think the female delegation makes enough concessions for how we are to try to meet us in the middle. Right. Okay. That's a big thing that I talk about in these conversations that I'm having. It's like, yes, I think men need to do a better job at understanding their woman's menstrual cycle. I think we need to do a better job at understanding that, she's speaking from a feelings place first and foremost. Women, y'all need to do a better job at understanding that a man is more logical. Y'all need to understand that a man hates to feel disrespected and all the things that are unique to us so we can meet in the middle. But right now there's this asymmetrical grace, right? This asymmetrical understanding, because of that chaotic nature, women assume they are every woman just off top. Like you'll hear women say, when I meet the right man, then I'll cook. It's like, lady, you don't know how to cook. you don't have the skill, and it doesn't just materialize magically.
Yeah.
But when you grow up watching fairy tales of, a girl puts her shoe, her leg in a shoe, and she transforms into some shit. A lot of them have that same, Peter Pan syndrome idea of, I haven't transformed yet because I haven't come across the right man, versus there is work that I need to do. There are boxes that I need to check to make myself the right woman to then be attractive to or be able to retain the right man.
Yeah. No, real shit, man. And that's what that thing that we had that conversation about the what's the verbiage? Conditional femininity.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you turn a thing on and off like that? Everything is not like riding a bike.
Nah.
And what is the expectation? There's one thing I always say, Alan, is how you do anything is how you do everything.
That's a fact.
And so why do they think that they can just turn it on and off? Like, why? Well, let me ask you a question. This is kind of a yes or no. Do you think men are the leaders?
In what context?
Well, so just based on the conversation, like, we make these concessions. Do we do so for the reason, like, we're trying to get them to understand or get them further, or why are we doing these things, right? Is it on us to make sure that the vibrations change during our conversation, or you know what I mean? But I just want to understand, do you come from a premise that we're the leaders, so now the responsibility lies with us?
I don't know if I think men, because of our manhood, are automatically the leaders.
Okay.
I think it would be more efficient that way, just based on our biological advantages relative to women. And I think that in a relationship dynamic, particularly, with a man and a woman, it's more productive. It's more likely to be successful if you are the leader. Because whenever women have to be in charge of a male-female dynamic, it usually doesn't go well. And I think part of leadership in general is being able to identify and strategize around the needs and the shortcomings of your constituents generally. And, in a one-on-one scenario, it is, that grace. But similarly, I think the constituents or the people that you're leading should also be cognizant of how heavy the crown is, right?
Yeah.
How precarious that perch is that you're sitting on.
Yeah.
And show grace in the inverse.
Indeed. I agree there. Man, that's man. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I know you got a few minutes. I want to drop the link, if you don't mind, see if people have any questions, comments, or
let's do it.
Smoke.
Let's do it.
But the last question I want to ask you, I'm going to ask you the question, give your thoughts. I'm going to read the super chats, drop the link, have the conversation with others if they like to come up. What is your main goal for doing what you do?
The main overarching mission is to connect the African diaspora through dialogue, right? I'm Nigerian, obviously. I grew up in America. Through what this channel has become, I have viewers in the UK. I have viewers in Asia. I have viewers in other countries in Africa. I have viewers in South America. I have viewers in Canada, right? And I think that connection, that network is a powerful thing, right? I think that right now the majority of the conversation is, relationship, Black men and Black women. But there's so much under that. And there's a lot of economic and social engineering potential under that as well. So I want to graduate the conversation away from some of the trivial things that we might be talking about now to actually talking about, logistics, right? Talking about country-specific networks, career-specific networks, where brothers and sisters throughout the diaspora can be connected in productive ways to make sure that our offspring don't have to submit themselves to white supremacy like we have to.
Yeah. No, 100%, 100%, man. The logistics is key, man. This is something we could definitely talk about offline, but I used to sell shirts and I had to get a lot of the fabrics from the Middle East. I'm just like, I skipped all the way over to,
Africa's right there, but there's
so much, man, so much. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Salute, Black Dawn in the building. It's popping, Miss Darlene. Thank you for the new members. Miss Darlene in the building. Appreciate you. John Senior, salute. Welcome to the family, Cuzzo. Steve, right? Steve, salute. Appreciate you. I read this one. Read so solid. There we go. Marcus with the $2 says, my fault. Alan in the building. It's all good. Red Pill Ranger with the $5 says, if a man has to 100% provide for his woman for her to do woman duties, she's not that into him and she don't respect him! Exclamation point. I mean, if you want to reply to these, you can just respond.
Yeah, for sure. If a man has to 100% provide for his woman for her to do women duties, again, I think it depends on what you think of women duties, and it depends on both of y'all's idea of the traditional household. I think a lot of times dudes make the mistake of comparing what their woman should be to what their grandma was. And those were different circumstances. She didn't have as many options. She didn't have as many opportunities. She wasn't empowered, right, the way women are today. So unfortunately, right, it is closer to 100%, or at least like a significant percent, maybe not 100, but a significant where she needs you in a way for it to work out that traditional way. But also, I always encourage men to go after women where these things, this nurturing, comes more naturally to her. So it's not a bargain, right? So if you are a natural provider, like before y'all even met, she be cooking normally and she does stuff like that. So you're not forcing a square peg into a round hole. So that's the biggest thing for me.
Indeed. Red Pill Ranger with the $5 says, his monogamy theory is flawed because most women don't qualify for those men and can't even get in the same room as them, so things wouldn't change.
Well, it depends on what he means by qualify. If he means like beauty, it's a lot of high value men, as we put it, who knock down booger wolves. That's the reality, right? And I think a lot of the reason why some women's heads are too big is because they think because they can get into baby's section or they can get in his bed that they can get in his life, right? So the fives and the sixes, they can get in proximity to high value men. Now their ability to like hold on to them is a different thing, but yeah, if we were in a polygamous society, some women might prefer being Miss LeBron James 10 versus being, Miss Bob 1, right? So it's multiple things happening.
Okay. 2 points of clarification. Is it the minority or majority of women that got big heads nowadays?
Majority.
And then majority or minority women want to be LeBron James 10?
Majority. No, that should say majority. Okay. No, that should say majority. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say majority. Yeah.
Red Pill Ranger with the $5 says, men, you don't have to buy a traditional submissive woman. Just find one who love, honor, and respect you, and she will be a full wife regardless. Red Pill Ranger with the $5 says it's dudes with no jobs have women working, cooking, and cleaning! Exclamation point. You just have to be the man she want, and money don't matter. Have some substance. Oh no, bro. Max, salute with the 20 ball says. You want to respond? Or you good? I think he just kind of made a comment.
I mean, let that be what it is. Yep. Yep.
Shout out to Alan with We Need to Talk podcast. Welcome to the family, cuzzo.
Shit like that.
We crazy over here.
Wow.
Daily Hampton. Salute to Miss Lauren Mack with the first 20 ball of the day, man. Let me see where my man at. Hold on 1 second. I gotta get him out the way. There you go. Didn't fit. Red Pill Ranger with the $5 says money is the great equalizer, but it's because women let it be. They be fucking baby alien. Google him. I don't know who that is.
I don't either, man.
Yeah, Harrison. Hey, Red Pill Ranger, click the link, man. Harrison Davis with the $5 says salute, my G. Salute to Harrison Davis for gifting 1 membership. Thank you, my brother. We on the road to 1,000 memberships. Whoever got that one, welcome to the family, and please maintain it. Red Pill Ranger with the $2 says, Alan, what's your opinion on followership?
Followership. I don't. What does he mean by that? Yo, just pull up, Red Pill. Just pull up, man. Let's talk.
Well,
let's talk. I don't know what followership is.
Yeah, I guess essentially leadership, followership. So the person who are in line with the leaders. Can a man lead a person that doesn't want to follow? That's often the question that comes up.
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think a mistake that we make, and I'm guilty of it too, is we try and a lot of time, I think in our community in particular, like we got it into our heads that if we are that dude, we can break any woman down. If we are him, we can, through our charisma, through our influence, through our masculinity, our alphaness, whatever the case may be. And then we're also hearing the stories about, when I meet the type of man that can control me, but then I'll submit. So we believe that shit too, right? And we believe that she doesn't have to demonstrate followership up front. It's about my ability to break her, which I think is a mistake. I think some women can be led and other women can't.
Yeah. Now you know what I'm gonna ask you.
Talk to me.
You think the majority of women can be led?
The minority.
Okay.
I think the majority of women can be led, but not by the majority of men.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, not by the majority of men. Yeah.
Harrison with the $5 says, I appreciate the connections these brothers make when deciphering the situations men and women deal with. Much respect, gentlemen. Thank you, my brother. We appreciate you. Salute to Harrison once again. Whoever getting blessed with these free memberships, please maintain it. Thank you, my G. Demetrius with the $5. What's poppin', Demetrius? Said, what does Alan think about the guys dating or marrying single mothers?
Oh man. I would ask how old are you? Right? If you're a young brother, don't do it. If you're a brother in his late 30s, early 40s, late 30s and above, I would say you probably have no choice, right? So then you have to ask the question, how many kids by how many men? What's the relationship with those men? What type of men are they? But yeah, if you are young and you don't have any kids, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Yeah. Don't even think about it.
Lauren Mack with the 5 memberships. Thank you. Whoever got one of those 5, please maintain it. Red Pill Ranger with the $5 says, I'm at the gym, but now knowing what followership is a major problem in the game and on these channels. Google it, Hamp and Baby Alien. All right, I'm gonna Google it, bro. I think we understand it. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. I gotta look that up.
I gotta see what this
You gonna look it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now.
Like